Hello everyone, today I'm going to be taking a look at an absolute monster of a miniature from Archon Studio's Dungeons and Lasers range as I check out the demonic Balor. Okay, I have Balor, Guardian of the Gates of Hell from Archon Studios. This is a massive 220mm tall figure with weapon choices and demonic flames a go. Inside the box, we have a host of sprues, including a clear plastic one for our flames. Let's get these all out and we'll take a look at them in a bit more detail. Okay, so there are no build instructions in the box. There is a QR code to bring you to the Archon website on the back. I'm not a huge fan of digital building instructions for my setup. Having to look at my computer is taking me in the opposite direction from the piece I'm building, but sign of the times, I suppose. So this sprue is labelled as Balor Part 2, although it does have the base on it, so we'll see whenever I get to building it if Part 1 is actually the first thing that you construct, because it seems to me you would put it on the base first. We've a lot of these intricate 3D puzzle parts to make up the large rock it's standing on, along with one of the wings and horns there. So there's a bit of detailing for the ground. Looks very crisp. Then we have Part 1 is this, which is shockingly sword and tails and wingspans along with armor pieces. So I think the parts are not the construction part. You're not going to be picking up Part 1 and building it first. Or certainly doesn't appear to be that way to me. The second wing sprue, if you will, is this massive one that includes all of the chains and poor skeleton things and massive whips. So here we have hand and weaponry, screaming skulls and tortured souls. Everything looks like it should be relatively straightforward to get off. I can't see any particularly nasty sprue gates or weird positioning, although I'll see whenever I get to building it if that remains the case. As you can see here, the torso is hollow in places, and that is because we have that final sprue of demonic flame, which is transparent and used to plug gaps. So it's actually erupting out of said demon. But in most cases you're looking directly at the front. The final piece, like I say, is this transparent. So it's done as clear acrylic or clear styrene. Well, I'll see whenever I get some glue to it. I imagine it's styrene of some description, but it has a slightly rubbery feel, if that makes sense. I'll know when the glue doesn't stick if it isn't. But you can see here things like the chest pieces and wreaths of flames to go along the sword blade and stuff like that. So they had one of these at UKG that they lit inside and used the fact that these are transparent just with like an ink wash over them to give them a yellow tint, and then the light came dazzling through. So had that very demonic feel to it. Interesting kit. Chunky sprues. Let's get it built. Okay, I'm back. He's built. Interesting. So, there were a couple of issues with the build, which I will point out now. First off, the sprues are numbered non-sequentially. So you might find number 27 beside number 31. And then when you're looking to build something, these spines, for example, are like 5, 52, 48, 3. And they're not all on the same sprue. So you have to go hooking around a bit, which was a little bit aggravating. It would be nice if the sprues were numbered sequentially. So you would go, okay, that piece is 13, it must be on sprue 1. This piece is 56, it must be on sprue 5. Whatever it happens to be. They can still place them all over the place because obviously to try and reduce the amount of sprues they need, they get moved around and shuffled, including one interesting piece, which if I just throw this around a bit, see these spines coming out the back of his arm? One of those was missing for a long time, and I thought, is it just not there? Have I lost it? And then I was building the wings, and they'd actually put it inside one of these holes for the wings, so there were sprue gates attached to it, and then a spine in the middle of it. That caught me out. The other thing was that one didn't have a number on it, so I couldn't work out. It was the last spine that was going on, so I knew when I found it where it was going. But there were a couple where they'd failed to put a number on. As long as you're building it in order, you should be able to sort that out. But the major problem I had was, see these thigh pieces of armor? This one and this piece here. They are actually incorrectly numbered on the build. They've reversed the two numbers. So when I clipped out 71, I think it's 71 and 58, I clipped out 71 for this and it wouldn't fit. And then I realized it was to go on the other leg. There's a very noticeable chunk out of it to make way for this cloth. So they need to be flipped. And I think potentially the knee plates need to be flipped as well. But by that stage, I just clipped both of those out and then just worked out which one fitted. Because they are molded to actually accept it in a certain way. So I'll say that. Do follow the sequence of build. If you are building one, because things like this leg plate goes on first, but then you put in the belt pieces and the loincloth before you put this leg plate on, because it goes over one and under the other. So there is a sequence. You can't jump around too much. There are places where you can, but it doesn't really matter. But overall, beast of a kit, absolute demon that he is. Some really nice pieces in here. If I pop it that way, you can see the whole sort of silhouette of it. So about 27 centimeter, 270 mil wide wingspan. And then to the top of this, which is the highest wing, is 220 mil, so 22 centimeters. The clear pieces are styrene, so regular styrene cement will work. However, if you want to get the full effect of them, you're going to have to paint this first and then glue these on. And polystyrene cement will lift paint. So I would suggest use the old builder's trick for cockpits for aircraft. And that is use a small amount of PVA glue instead of using polystyrene cement. It won't lift the paint and it will dry clear. Everything nestles particularly nicely. So you won't have too much of an issue to actually get into place. Obviously, if you do want all of these pieces to be painted, you are going to have to do a lot of prep work in advance, get it painted separately first. You can leave the face off, which allows you to paint the flames in the interior. However, the central chest piece that has some spines, and you have this piece of sort of glow coming through top and bottom of chest on either side. You might just be able to see the reflections. That is the third piece to go in. So that goes in, and then the front and back of the body goes on, and then the build goes from there. So unless you're going to build or paint everything and then assemble it and then try and do cleanup and touch-ups, that's going to be your hardest part, because there's no way that goes in without doing some prep work or painting first. Break out the liquid latex maybe
and cover it up when you're painting, and then you can have it whatever way afterwards. I went with the whip, I suppose it is, because I'm a glutton for punishment, and this was more complex than the sword. There is a sword which is mighty unto itself, again with additional flames, which is quite cute. But detail-wise, it's gorgeous. I mean, things like the chains all hang perpendicular to the ground, which is good, including this body on the base. And then the chains over the top nestle in quite nicely. There's like 3 joins along each of the tops of the wings, and the rest sort of follow the contours of the wings down. So yes, if you're after a absolute lord of a hellscape, then this one is an absolute darling. If you're after a big painting project, then this is going to be a big painting project. There's lots to get into, albeit may require a lot of sub-assemblies, time and effort. If you do build this whip, you're better building it off the model. I built it on the model, and it's fine until you get to this section, the last section here, from tip to tip, because it's a very long, thin piece, and you've only got this one join point on it. So if you've not got a really good polystyrene cement, you may find yourselves in for a bit of pain on that one if it can't sit flat, because obviously it's hovering quite a bit here. But, I mean, the details, things like the bones and spines coming through the armor plates, which are all individual sort of components that you then slot together. It really is gorgeous. It has a real feel of something that could have been a massive resin masterpiece from a company, and the fact that they've managed to render it into polystyrene is a thing of beauty. And I don't know what lucky devil's going to get a chance to paint this. They're obviously going to curse me up and down for having glued all of the see-through components in there. But there we have it. That is Balor from Archon Studios. So there you go, an absolute monster of a miniature, almost a foot tall, 27 centimeters from top to bottom. It will dominate any board, or as a painting project, it is absolutely spectacular. If you fancy doing something a bit extravagant, at UKG, when the guys were showing it off to us, somebody had actually lit it up, so all of those clear plastic pieces were lit by LEDs or by fiber optic cabling or whatever it is the wizards use. But for mere mortals, if you just fancy giving it a glaze with an ink, or these days you can use a speed paint or an express paint just over the top of it to get that translucent fire feel, then that's very doable. And so it's a real nice mix of stuff. And I like how they've used the transparent plastic along with the regular styrene to get that different style of look to your demonic entity. But yeah, definitely worth checking out if you're after a massive centerpiece for your table or for the mantelpiece. Let me know what you think below, folks. Until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.